Hello guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So as you can see, I have a new setup. I have this orange light here. I hope you like it. I hope you think it looks better. Let me know in the comments. But today we're actually going to be talking about the American accent. And I'm going to be ranking American accents from easiest to hardest. Today we're only going to look at 5 American accents because obviously America is a big country. And in a lot of states and regions, people have their own unique accents. So if you want part 2, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. So we're going to start with the standard American English accent. I decided to start with this accent because this is probably the accent you're learning if you want to speak in American English, and this is probably the accent you're taught in schools or in college, again if you are taught American English. So this is practically the accent you're gonna hear the most in the news and on the radio, and this is actually the accent that I'm trying to replicate when I speak in English because I personally love the American accent. So let's listen to this clip from the CBS News report.
President Biden is back on the road promoting his social spending plan, which remains in limbo in Congress. On Friday, he discussed the plan's benefits at a child care center in Connecticut.
So the woman in this video has a standard American accent. She's a news reporter, and usually news reporters have a very good, clear accent. Guys, if you feel like you don't understand her speech, this is probably because she's speaking really fast, not because of her accent. So the other reason why you're probably struggling to understand her is because she is connecting all her words together. This is a very important part of the American accent. Connected speech. If you want me to make a video about connected speech, make sure to leave your comments. But here, I'm just gonna say that she's connecting all the words together. And this is probably why for you, a lot of her words just sound like one long word, because it is kind of true. So right now, let's just note some of the interesting expressions here. So she uses the expression in limbo when she says, President Biden's social spending plan remains in limbo in Congress. So when we're in limbo, we're in a situation where we don't know when something will happen or even if something will happen. So we're not sure. And so here, Congress hasn't approved Biden's plan yet, but they also haven't rejected it yet. So we're not sure if his spending plan is going to be approved or not. So his plan is in limbo in Congress. And another interesting fact here, accent-wise, is how she pronounces the word center and Connecticut. Instead of saying center, which is going to be a little bit more British, or even Santa, right, without pronouncing the letter R, she says center, center. So she drops the T sound completely. It's very common in American English to drop the T sound after the letter N, like in the words center, internet, interact, intermission, etc. And I've talked about this rule a lot in my previous video about the American accent, so make sure to check it out right here. So now that we watched the video one more time, let's watch the clip again.
President Biden is back on the road promoting his social spending plan, which remains in limbo in Congress. On Friday, he discussed the plan's benefits at a child care center in Connecticut.
Now let's move on to our second accent, and I decided to pick 2 accents here. The Boston accent and the New York accent. Obviously, they're not completely identical, but there are certain parts that are very similar. But to illustrate the accent, I decided to choose a clip from a speech of a former Boston mayor.
Another one, an important aspect to the education. Last year, the university's first residence hall on campus. I was excited. That was not easy. In '98, we had a conversation in the neighborhood about building a dorm, and it was pretty difficult.
So guys, did you hear how he said the words important, dorm? So these words, instead of just saying dorm, important, he kind of took his time, right? It wasn't that fast as, for example, in the standard American accent. And we can see the same pattern in the expression residence hall on campus. So obviously my Boston accent is not great, so I'm not gonna try to replicate his accent. I just want to show you guys that American accents are different, and I want you to be able to hear the difference. But still here, when he uses the expression last year, he says it in a very good American way. So instead of saying last year, he connects these 2 words together. Remember the rule of the connected speech? So he connects these 2 words and he says last year. he adds this ch sound, like for example in the word cheese, right? He says last year. So this is the rule. When one word ends on a T and another begins on a Y, we just add this ch sound. For example, next year. It's going to be the same rule here. And now let's watch this video again.
Another one, an important aspect to the education. Last year, the university's first residence hall on campus. I was excited. That was not easy. In '98, we had a conversation in the neighborhood about building a dorm, and it was pretty difficult.
And before we jump to our next accent, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to our sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community where millions come together to take the next step in their creative journey. Skillshare offers thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people on topics including illustration, design, photography, video, freelancing, and more. Their platform is perfect for lifelong learners, pros, beginners, dabblers, and masters. Their classes include a combination of video lessons and a class project that will fit any schedule. If you become a member, you immediately get unlimited access to thousands of inspiring classes with hands-on projects and feedback from a community of millions. Right now, I'm actively working on my Instagram profile, and the class on Skillshare called Video for Instagram, tell an engaging story in less than a minute, has really helped me find inspiration and pick the right themes for my videos. I highly recommend this class if you're interested in creating content for Instagram. So guys, if you're interested in trying out Skillshare, you can do it for free. The first 1,000 of you to click the link in the description will get a whole month's free trial of Skillshare so that you can start exploring your creativity today. I really hope you enjoy taking your Skillshare classes. And now let's go back to the video and talk about the next accent, the Minnesota accent. And I'm sure this one is going to be a lot more difficult for you to understand. So to get acquainted with this accent, we're gonna listen to a short clip with a former wrestler, actor, and governor of Minnesota, Jesse Ventura.
My father had boxed a little as a kid, and my grandfather ended that. He said, "You're not gonna be a boxer." But my dad was a pretty tough guy. So my dad would come up to my brother and I's room, and the three of us would gather around the radio to hear the blow-by-blow of whether it was...
So guys, interesting facts to know here. Did you notice how he said the words father and boxer? So the sounds are a little bit different. They're more open. His mouth is definitely more open and the sounds are longer. And the same is true for the words boxed and boxer. And he also used a very interesting adjective here, blow by blow. So a blow by blow description contains every detail and every action of an event. So let me give you an example right now so that you understand the meaning of the expression blow by blow. You'll have to tell me about your date with Sam. I want a blow by blow account. So here a person says that I want you to tell me everything about your date with Sam. I want a blow-by-blow account, a blow-by-blow description. I want you to tell me everything, every minor detail of your date with Sam. So this is what the expression means. Jesse is a former professional wrestler, so it's only natural that he's using this expression, blow-by-blow. Now let's watch the video again, focusing more on this phrase blow-by-blow and on how he pronounces certain vowels in English, like in the words father and boxer.
My father had boxed a little as a kid, and my grandfather ended that. He said, "You're not going to be a boxer." But my dad was a pretty tough guy. So my dad would come up to my brother and I's room, and the three of us would gather around the radio to hear the blow-by-blow of whether it was...
So now let's move on to our fourth accent, the Missouri accent. Guys, I absolutely had to include this accent in this video because it is the accent in Ted Lasso. And I absolutely love this TV show. I'm a huge fangirl. So let's watch this short clip right now.
Well, as my doctor told me when I got addicted to fettuccine Alfredo, that's a little rich for my blood. How about this? If you win, I'll let you pick the starting lineup of the last 2 games of the season.
So guys, here we have a couple of things to know. First of all, how he says my and this I sound. And for example, in the word I as well. So instead of saying I believe, he says I believe. It's more like instead of I. Yeah, he doesn't pronounce this y sound because he speaks incredibly fast. The same is true for the expression my blood. When he says my blood, he says my blood. My blood instead of saying my blood. And we also notice that something is different when he says doctor, this sound, again, just like in the previous accent. In a lot of American accents, the vowel sounds are going to be different. And in this clip, you didn't see that, but if you are going to watch this TV show, you're going to notice that Ted Lasso says y'all a lot. So what does the expression mean, y'all? Y'all means you all, and using y'all is very common in Southern American accents. Sometimes you'll come across y'all in African American English and in South African Indian English as well. And I believe that it's very important for you to know this expression y'all because, guys, people use it a lot. Even if they're not from the South, they will still use y'all a lot. So you should know this phrase. So now let's watch the video again, making sure that we can actually understand everything he's talking about because he does speak incredibly fast.
Well, as my doctor told me when I got addicted to fettuccine Alfredo, that's a little rich for my blood. How about this? If you win, I'll let you pick the starting lineup of the last 2 games of the season.
And now, guys, let's move on to our last accent, the Tennessee accent, or just Southern accents in general. So guys, here we need to talk about a lot of different things. First of all, in the South, people usually speak incredibly fast, and again, their speech is connected. Connected speech is very common in American English, so it doesn't matter if it's a Southern accent or if it's just the standard American English, they are going to connect their words and speak very fast. So to learn more about this accent, we're going to listen to a short clip from the movie called Inglourious Basterds with Brad Pitt. And Brad Pitt is going to speak with a Southern accent.
My name is Lieutenant Aldo Rain, and I'm putting together a special team, and I need me 8 soldiers. 8 Jewish American soldiers. Now, y'all might have heard rumors about the Armada happening soon. Well, we'll be leaving a little earlier.
So yeah, guys, right now your head is probably exploding. You're like, I can't understand a single word because he is speaking really fast. So first, let's talk about the oo sound. In the South, this oo sound is closer to the front of the mouth, right? So when we say soup, it's like very close to the front instead of just soup in standard American accent. So again, you've noticed that he's using y'all a lot because it's extremely common in the South. And guys, did you notice that he said, I need me 8 soldiers? Instead of just saying, I need 8 soldiers, we don't really need this me here. But it's again a very interesting way of phrasing a sentence. Instead of just saying, I need 8 soldiers, you said, I need me 8 soldiers. And I think this is probably you lost him when he said we'll be leaving a little earlier. First of all, obviously he said it very fast and he connected all of these words so naturally. You know, it was like water, like one word was connected to the other. It was all like fluid, right? His speech was very connected, very natural and fluid. Another thing you need to know about a Southern accent is that it's also called a Southern drawl. So what does this word drawl mean? So if a person drawls, they speak in a slow, lazy way with prolonged vowel sounds. Prolonged means long, right? So the vowel sounds are longer. This is actually what we saw with the Minnesota accent, right? With Jesse Ventura when he said father, the ah sound was very long.
My father had boxed a little as a kid. My grandfather ended that.
So a drawl is just an accent where people speak in a slow, lazy way with prolonged vowel sounds. But obviously, hearing all of those accents, you're probably wondering, but they're not really speaking that slowly, right? They're speaking incredibly fast. And here you just need to remember, it usually applies to vowel sounds. That vowel sounds, some of them are prolonged. So this is one of the patterns of a drawl. And now let's watch the video again.
My name is Lieutenant Aldo Rain, and I'm putting together a special team, and I need me 8 soldiers. 8 Jewish American soldiers. Now, y'all might have heard rumors about the Armada happening soon. Well, we'll be leaving a little earlier.
So guys, I think it's gonna be it for today's video. You just learned 5 American accents and I try to rank them from the easiest to the hardest. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram because there I share my everyday life with you. If you want to get a script to this video, make sure to join me here on YouTube by clicking this join button right here. Or you can also go on my Patreon page and pick a membership there. So thank you guys for watching this video. See you next time. Bye!